This is not a video about the person who was betrayed. This is a video about you, the one who did the betraying. Because while the world spends its time comforting the wounded, and they deserve every word of that comfort, almost nobody talks about what happens on the other side. What happens inside the mind, the body, and the life of the person who looked at someone who gave them everything and chose to destroy it anyway. The psychology is brutal, and it is permanent. Stay with me. Because what research has discovered about the long-term consequences of betraying a loyal person is one of the darkest and most fascinating chapters in all of human psychology. Before we go further, we need to understand what a truly loyal person actually represents, not the casual loyalty of someone who simply hasn't found a reason to leave yet, not the loyalty of fear or dependency or lack of options, the loyalty of someone who saw your worst moments, your ugliest days, your smallest hours, your most embarrassing failures, and chose you anyway, deliberately, repeatedly, without keeping a record. Psychologists call this unconditional positive regard. Carl Rogers, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, identified this quality as one of the rarest and most psychologically valuable things one human being can offer another: to be seen completely, without the performance, without the carefully managed presentation, and still be chosen. That is not common. That is extraordinary. And the person who betrays someone capable of that level of loyalty has not simply hurt a feeling or broken a promise. They have destroyed something the human brain recognizes on a level beneath conscious thought as irreplaceable, and the brain does not forget that. Here is what happens inside the mind of a person who betrays loyalty immediately, often within hours: cognitive dissonance. This is the psychological term for the intense mental discomfort that occurs when a person's actions contradict their self-image. And almost every person who betrays a loyal partner, friend, or loved one carries a self-image that includes, somewhere, however buried, the belief that they are fundamentally a decent person. The betrayal shatters that image, and the mind, desperate to protect itself from the full weight of that shattering, begins to construct a narrative. They weren't as loyal as I thought. I was unhappy, and they never noticed. They pushed me to this. These are not honest conclusions reached through reflection. They are psychological defense mechanisms, stories the mind tells itself to reduce the unbearable gap between what was done and who the person believes themselves to be. But here is what research consistently shows: the narrative never fully works. No matter how convincing the story becomes on the surface, no matter how many times it is rehearsed and refined and presented to others as justification, something beneath it remains unconvinced, because the subconscious mind was present for everything. It recorded the loyalty that was shown. It registered the care that was offered. It witnessed the choice that was made, and it does not accept the edited version. The second consequence: the trust paradox. This is the finding that surprises people most. Research in betrayal psychology has consistently documented what is called the trust paradox, the phenomenon where a person who betrays a loyal partner finds themselves, in subsequent relationships, profoundly unable to trust. Not the person they betrayed, themselves. Because trust is not simply something we extend to others, it is also something we maintain about ourselves, a private belief that we are capable of being trusted, of being the kind of person who honors what they are given. When that belief is shattered by an act of betrayal, when a person proves to themselves, through their own actions, that they are willing to destroy something loyal and genuine, a quiet but devastating question enters the mind. If I did it once, what stops me from doing it again? And more dangerously, if I am capable of this, what am I really? This question does not announce itself loudly. It does not arrive as a crisis. It seeps into new relationships, into the way they interpret the loyalty of the next person who shows up, into the paranoia that develops when someone loves them well, because the mind that betrayed loyalty cannot fully believe that loyalty is real when it is offered. They begin to assume that everyone, eventually, is capable of what they themselves did. They project their own betrayal onto everyone who loves them. And in doing so, slowly, systematically, they destroy every good thing that tries to grow in the space left by what they threw away. Now comes the part that psychology calls the loyalty paradox. And it is, from a clinical perspective, genuinely remarkable. When a person of deep loyalty is betrayed, something inside them changes, not immediately. The initial period is grief, confusion, and a pain so specific and so personal that it leaves marks. But after the grief, in the months and years that follow, something else emerges. Researchers who have studied post-betrayal psychology describe a pattern they call post-traumatic growth. The discovery, in the aftermath of profound loss, of a version of the self that is more grounded, more boundaried, and more genuinely powerful than the one that existed before the wound. The betrayed person stops asking for things they deserve and starts simply requiring them. They stop making themselves small to fit spaces that were always too narrow. They stop loving people into health and start expecting people to arrive already healthy. They become, in the clinical language, psychologically formidable, and the person who betrayed them is forced to witness this transformation from the outside, from the distance created by their own choice. They watch the person they discarded become the version of themselves that the relationship was always suppressing. And the lesson that lands, the one that arrives not as a concept but as a lived, inescapable reality, is this: the most powerful person in any story of betrayal is never the one who left. It is always the one who was left. Psychology has a term for what happens to a person in the long aftermath of betraying genuine loyalty. It is called moral injury. Originally used to describe the psychological damage experienced by soldiers who witnessed or participated in acts that violated their moral code. It has since been applied more broadly to any experience where a person's actions have permanently fractured their own sense of integrity. Moral injury does not heal the way ordinary wounds heal, because ordinary wounds are inflicted from the outside. Moral injury is self-inflicted, and the scar it leaves is not on the skin, it is on the relationship a person has with their own character. The most dangerous lesson that comes after betraying a loyal person is not external. It is not the lost relationship, the changed reputation, or the person they watched become extraordinary without them. It is internal. It is the quiet, permanent knowledge that when they were tested, when the moment came that revealed exactly who they were, they failed. Not a test set by someone else, their own. If you are watching this and you have been betrayed, this is not just a video about the person who hurt you. It is evidence. Evidence that loyalty is not weakness, that choosing someone completely and being destroyed for it does not make you foolish. It makes you rare, and rare things are not diminished by being mishandled. They simply find better hands. If you are watching this and you are the one who betrayed, it is not too late to understand what you did, not to undo it. Some things cannot be undone, but to carry the lesson with enough honesty that you never repeat it, because the most dangerous thing about betraying a loyal person is not what it does to them. It is what it permanently does to you. Drop a in the comments if this hit something real today. Subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell. Every day there is something here that goes deeper than the surface. Share this with someone who needs to understand the true cost of taking loyalty for granted. See you tomorrow.